friends, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I have another reading wrap up, and this one is for the month of June. Yes, yay! I'm almost caught up. I think I said that in the May wrap up, and here I am doing June. But, anyways, before we get started, as usual, I'm gonna ask you to please subscribe. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, so help me out. So, for the cover page for June, I did not have an idea what I wanted to do, but I did know that I wanted to use these papers. I That's what I usually say because that's what usually happens. I don't plan anything. I just, look at my papers and I said, okay, I haven't used this before. This is what I want to do. And then I just go and let my creative juices flow. I don't know, that sounded bad. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoy it. I like it. I'm not 100% in love with it as usual. I'm so critical, but that's what it is. Anyways, also this video is super long. I try to cut as much as possible, but it is what it is. So hopefully you stick around and watch the whole thing or most of it anyways. I'm gonna take this opportunity to throw some ideas at you guys that I want to do for 2026. So please make sure to subscribe. I'm saying that again. I'm asking, I'm begging at this point. I want to get to 1,000 subscribers. Anyway, I'm looking to create a book club for 2026, but I want it to be of rereads of books that I have read that I want to reread. For example, one of them is Throne of Glass, and also the Mortal Instruments by Cassandra Clare, because those are some of my favorite books. I also want to reread The Witchlands by Susan Denner. I believe the last book comes out in November, and it's been a while since we had a book from that series, and I remember loving that series so much. Especially, I remember the stories being slow, but the friendship, I love the friendship in those books. So if this is something that you want to do, let me know, because I'm playing around right now with names and series that I want to reread. It's not only going to be series, but if I start, it's going to be with the Mortal Instruments, and also, that includes some of the spin-off. I don't have all the spin-off books, but I have some of them. So that is something that I want to do. So if that sounds like something you would like to join me in, then just let me know, because that's going to be for 2026. We'll talk about more on that in my July wrap up, because right now I'm trying to come up with some names for the book club, and my what's holding me back is I don't know if anyone is gonna join me, and it's gonna be like a monthly thing. It's gonna take us a while to finish a lot of the books. I'm planning to do one book per month, because of course these are the books that I want to read, and I don't want to be all about just the series that I want to reread. But that is something that I said, you know what, let me just put it out there, see what you guys think. You guys let me know. I'm just very chatty today, and I wanted to, I have a few new subscribers. So I wanted to put that out there to see if that is something that you would like to see in this channel. And of course, I will do a video with the reading, a reading recap of every book that we read during the book club. I'm thinking the Nephilim book club, but I don't know. I haven't researched it, so I don't know if that is taken. So don't take me on that. Or maybe we can just change the name of the read along. Oh, that's what it is, a read along. Maybe we could change the name with the read along, or I don't know. I'm just coming up with ideas for things to do in 2026, because it's already almost September and I cannot believe it. I still haven't put out my July wrap up, but my July wrap up is gonna be awesome, guys. I finished a whole series. I binge read a series, And I was like, oh my God, now I see what the big deal was with this series. But more on that when July comes. And yeah, so let's get into the June wrap up. here we are, done with the cover page. There are still some space there. I thought I had some things to put there, but I'm gonna have to do that later. I know I have things, I just couldn't find it. I need to organize my supplies. If you want to see a video with me organizing my supplies, let me know in the comments so that I know that is something that you want to see. But definitely not bad. I like it. It's nice. It's pretty, in my opinion. But anyways, I hope you enjoy it. Let me know what you think about. Now we're gonna move on to the calendar spread. This is something that I like to do every month. I was thinking about not continuing on in 2026 with this setup, but I think I'm going to keep it because I can see at a glance like the days that I do not read. And I don't get that in any other form other than once I do the reading journal, then I can see like how many days I spent on one book and the days that I didn't read. As you will see soon for the calendar, I did not read for a little bit over a week, which is shocking. I mean, it shouldn't be shocking. I did finish a series in the month of June, which we'll see very shortly. So it wasn't a bad reading month because these books have had a lot of pages. I think they're like 700, 800 pages each. So I'm not mad at that. You know, 4 books is better than none. Anyways, I'm here continuing on with the papers that I use for the cover page. I don't care if my cover page doesn't match the rest of my reading journal. It doesn't have to be matchy matchy, but I kind of like the idea of the fairies. And I just love the paper with the lavender and the cream and the beige. I don't know. I just like it, and I figured let me just give it a go. now for the stats for the month of June. I read a total of 4 books, a total of 1,898 pages. My average rating was 4.0. My format was all print, 4 books. And I read at the beginning of the month, I did most of my reading. And then after the 14 to the 24, I didn't get to read much at all. And then on the 25th, I started the last book of the month, which it was The Way of Kings. Spoiler alert, I was supposed to read it in July, continue reading it, but I decided because I wanted to do something else, which you will see in the July wrap up. It did not happen. So I put The Way of Kings to the side. I was really enjoying it. There's nothing wrong with the book. It's just that I needed something different after reading 3 books from the same author, and those books were massive. And I just needed a break and I wanted to read something different. So, spoiler alert, is going to be romance, and it's going to be dark romance, and it's going to be really good. Hopefully, you like it if you're into that. So, for the month of July, I did really good. And also for the month of June, I did read one of the books that I read, which is not part of the series, was a 3 star, and I was a bit disappointed, but the book was in my shelf for a very long time. It was one of my anticipated releases of that year, and I decided that I wasn't going to read it, and I'm glad because otherwise I would have been like more mad than I was when I started reading it. I was just like, this is a disappointment. But we'll talk about that a little bit more. It will be the last book that I talk about in the wrap up. I'm not going to talk about The Way of Kings because I started reading it, and other than me loving it and really enjoying it, it was great. So I cannot wait to pick it back up later on, September, October. I'm not sure, but I need to continue on with my Kashmir reading. So yeah. So one of the books that I do not have here is the first book in the series, and I read it back in April, but I decided since I read most of the series this month, I wanted to put that review again here for the month of June. I did not read it in June. I did read it in back in April, but I decided to do a second setup for it. I should have just recorded the previews, but anyways, I read it back in April, and that was the Dragon Keeper. And I just decided to do another setup just to have all the books together. But now let's talk about the book because it was great. I have to say, very slow burn, more slower than the previous books in the realm of the Otherlings. But Dragon Keeper is the first book in the Ringwalls Chronicles. We are introduced to a new cast. We have Thymara, Alice, Leftrin, Cedric, and of course the dragons. This is a character first story, no intense action scenes, but still I loved it. My favorite characters was Thymara. I don't know how to say Thymara. I think it's Thymara. She was an instant favorite. Her bond with her arrogant half-formed dragon, Sintara, is equal parts frustrating and fascinating. Alice, oh my god, I loved her so much. Alice's arc was more of a slow build. She starts off meek and unsure, but begins to grow, and she's fueled by her obsession with dragons and ancient elderly lore. Leftrin, I didn't like him at first, and I was really questioning his motives. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to spoil it for you guys, but I thought he had like some type of motive to go for one of the characters in the book, but he ended up being a decent guy. Sorry if that's the spoiler, but these are some of my favorite characters. Cedric too. I liked him, then I disliked him, And then I liked him again, and all these characters, they just grew on me, you know. Also, I have to mention that we also get glimpses of familiar characters from the Light Shade Traders, which it was exciting to me because the Light Shade Traders is my favorite trilogy from the realm of the Elderlings so far. Is the winner, the Light Shade Traders. Also, I have to say this story wasn't perfect. It was very, very slow and kind of repetitive, but I loved it. I loved it. I have to say, I did. I loved it. And this book gets 5 stars from me. I think it's the only book in this series that I gave 5 stars. Oh my god. Yeah, it was slow. I loved it. The dragons were horrible but fascinating at the same time. I really enjoy these books. I cannot wait to reread sometime in the future. Not anytime soon anyways. But 5 stars. And I think I spent a lot of time on this layout. Most of the video is on the cover page and this one. Anyways, now we're gonna move on to the second book, which is Dragon Haven, and it picks up right where Dragon Keeper left off. The story leans hard on character tensions. The characters are heading upriver in search of Kelsingra, but between food shortages, poisonous waters, and clashing personalities, things start to get a bit messy. The bond between the dragons and the humans deepens, especially as ancient magic starts to shake them both. Also, every chapter has some type of letters between bird keepers that I found very interesting. At first, when I started reading it, I was like, what is this and what does this has to do with the story? But in the end, I just thought it added something special to the story. Plus, man, the things that happen in this book is like amazing. 5 stars. And what else can I say? I just love this crazy, awful dragons. And there you have it. Now we're going to move on to the third book, City of Dragons. And the dragons are finally home. The group reaches Kelsingra, a magical city. There's more tension, the dragons are evolving and still awful, sort of, and there's danger from Calcid. We dive a little deeper into the Asian lore and the legacy of the Otherlands, but what really stands out is how far the characters have come. Alice, Cedric, Timara are figuring out who they want to be, and the dragons, still vain, still brilliant, still awful, arrogant, you name it. Those are the dragons. But I mean, I'm saying that, but I want you to know that I really enjoy the dragons, the characters, everything about the story. Well, except some little things about the story. There's something that happened over and over again because, we get these characters when they're teenagers and they finding themselves, but it was still a great story. Highly recommended. Maybe not. I know these books are not gonna be for everybody, but I just love them so much. 4 stars. look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? The green, the dragon. What a baddie. That's a badass dragon. Okay, so now we're moving on to the last book in the series, Blood of Dragon, the final book. We have growing relationships, emotional payoffs, and good character growth. Still slow moving, except I feel that the end was a bit rushed for me. I don't know. I still love the series as a whole. So, but I have to say something that I mentioned before. These are teenagers, right? And there was a part that was very annoying that kept happening over and over, and that is these teenagers becoming adults and hooking up and trying to figure out who they want to hook up with. And this one is hooking up with this one, and this character needs to decide who she's going to be hooking up with. And the character doesn't want to hook up with anybody, she wants to live life. And that was the only thing that I have to say about the series that I didn't like. But, you know, other than that, I think it was great. And I guess I need to move on to the next book because I didn't spend enough time with Blood of Dragons, but I gave it 4 stars. And now we're gonna move on to the last book that I read in the month of June, which it was 3 stars, a bit of a disappointment. This book isn't about Rapunzel, it's about a woman history turning to a monster. We follow Halsey Healthwise, a girl touched by grief and gifted with Asian magic. This is more of a historical fantasy than a fairy tale. It is a slow burn, and the story takes place mostly during her teen years, and it just dragged a bit. The ending felt rushed. I was disappointed. I thought when I first got the book, it was going to be a Rapunzel retelling, like a witchy retelling, but it's not. It's about a witch, and that's what happened with this book. And that's all I'm gonna say.
Say the book was bad, but I was expecting something else. You might still enjoy it if you read it. I'm giving it 3 stars. I might read it later on. I don't know. Maybe I do a reread sometime in the future. But as of right now, the way I feel about this book is it was a bit disappointing and slow. But it is what it is. It's done. I read it. It was one of my 25 in 2025. So, I crossed that out. have come to the end. I cannot believe I'm going to start a brand new reading journal for the second half of 2025. Stay tuned for that. Make sure to subscribe. Look at that. I have enough pages just to do my mid-year stats and all that stuff. But here is the final flip through. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe if you haven't. And looking forward to the July wrap up. Is going to be a long video for that one. And let's see what happens. If you have any ideas for the 2026 book club that I want to do, the rereads, read along, please leave them in the comment. I would love to hear from you. Every comment is, any suggestion, comment is welcome. So please feel free to leave it in the comments, any suggestions that you may have. And here I go again with the see-through situation here. I added the book covers and I think it's looking very nice. I especially love this one. Look at that. The green monster. Orange in this page. I gotta come up with something to do with the cover for this one. And the last book in June, the Book of Gothel. Gothel? I don't even know how to say that. But as you can see, like I said, enough pages just to finish the book. I have loved this reading journal so much, really. And this year I'm not reading as much as I usually do, but look at that already. I cannot wait to set up the new reading journal. You will see the July wrap up first and then the setup for the new journal. And I have to update my stats and all that stuff, but hopefully you stick around, subscribe, and I love this reading journal so much. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Again, subscribe. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, and I'll see you for the next one. Thanks for watching. Have a good one. Bye.